Besides all of the sort of chicken and eggness of this job, you know, what should I be doing first? There's other things that sort of crop up. Boarding out this loft space is not exactly the next job, but I just wanted to shift these boards out from under my feet, so I thought I'll quickly throw a couple of them up there. Now, saying that, of course, I need that boarded out to take the water tank, and the boards need to go up, fun enough, before the ceiling, because if I put the ceiling up, then I haven't got a clue how I would get those boards up there. So yeah, things sort of go out of sequence a little bit, and I'm sort of looking at the size of the gap in that A-frame there, thinking, when I get my water tank, my water heater, chaudière, will it feed through there to go on there, or have I got to sort of think of some clever sort of hatch? I suppose I ought to get up there and run a tape measure around a few things. I think that's big enough for me to feed a water tank through, I think. But yeah, for now I'm just going to chuck a couple more boards up there, which, as I say, it's not the most important thing to be doing. What I should be doing is carrying on. You know, I've done a little bit more to do. Why that board went up there is because that board was leaning against the wall there, and I wanted it out of the way so that I can do that bit there, and so on it goes. It all makes sense of sorts. Well, good morning to you all, good morning. I slept in quite late this morning. It was about 20 to 7 when I woke up. Yeah, so I've got some catching up to do on this, the commemoration of St. Juliet. Not sure how many of you will be familiar with St. Juliet. She was a martyr in Cappadocia who refused to give incense offerings to false gods, for which they burnt her alive. Sometimes being a saint isn't, in this earth, too much fun. Sometimes. But as a gentleman said to me on Sunday, think about the life eternal. Yes, and sometimes I think we should stop and think. I came out here with a can of water, and I was feeling very pleased with myself because I've got this sort of bizarre thought that I created this garden. No, I didn't. I've changed it, I've moved things around, I've planted things, and some of them are giving me pleasure. This dear little rose has now got 2 buds in it. If memory serves, they will be a very light, almost white pink. Yeah, I planted that. I took the cutting, I dug the flower bed, I chucked the dirt in. But, did I create it? Well, debate that amongst yourselves. But there we are. I've got lots to do today. I've got lots to do every day, which is a good thing. Ought to perhaps... I like this tool. Very good in this dirt for getting weeds out, which of course come through at every opportunity Yeah, their eyes follow you round the room. Now, you may wonder what the Faber farm is producing. It's producing lunch. That one, unfortunately, you know, that's what happens when you get dry and water. They sometimes split, but that will be fine, sliced up and added to my lunch. These, I've never grown tomatoes like these, but you know, this is the sort of tomato they like to grow here, and that, well, that's described as a yellow tomato. It's sort of not really what I think of as yellow, but it certainly isn't red like we might expect. But there we are. That's to go with lunch today. Just sort of amused me, and I had to laugh. I'm going up ladders to install floors. Is that right? Going up ladders to install floors? You know, you go up ladders to install ceilings, don't you? Anyway, what are we doing? Well, we're getting this space boarded out. It needs to be boarded out because there's going to be a water heater up here. I've got to be a little bit cute about that because I've got to be able to get it in, and at some time in the future, presumably I'll have to be able to get it out and replace it and things like that. So I've got to sort of slow down some of the getting carried away and just think about that problem. And I think the solution lays in this A-frame, because I think that is big enough to feed a water tank through, as long, of course, as there isn't something that side blocking it. Now, I've sort of got the idea that what's going to happen with this particular frame is one side of it will be left exposed as a feature. One side, the other side will be closed in, and because of the way it's made, I've got to think carefully. I've got to put some braces because there will be more boards laid here, and they've got to be supported on that end. You can't leave them just hanging in space, not if they're going to carry some sort of load. So I need to put some sort of timber work across there. And I suppose I ought to brush all of the dirt and muck off it before I get too carried away, I guess. Is that a good idea? Probably a good idea, isn't it? Well, there we are, things to do when it's hot outside. It is hot today. I've just looked at the thermometer, 29 degrees centigrade. People tell me it's actually going to get hot tomorrow. But yeah, 29 degrees centigrade at the moment. Well, at the end of the day, you ought to just take a look at what you've done. And I'm actually having trouble seeing what I've done today because it's been a sort of bitty day. A bit of this, a bit of that. Bits of filling. It's been that hot that the show and bits of plaster have just been drying far too quickly to work. I've got some extra boards up. I've worked out how I'm going to create a hatch for putting water tanks through so that when I do put a water tank up there, it all works. I've been thinking about where my wiring runs are going to go. I've moved the light switch because, well, that was the wrong place to put it. That was there just as a temporary. This is a temporary fit. It will be going sort of in thin air here next to the door when the door goes in. So yeah, I'm sort of pleased with myself. I've done stuff, but it's been one of those days when it's not been anything dramatic and big and obvious. I've done some gardening. I guess we can take a look at the garden while we're here. I don't know how many people having a shave in the morning will be distracted and look out at the garden, and perhaps they'll cut themselves shaving. I guess that depends what sort of ladies come to visit, really, doesn't it? But there we are. There we are. The grapes, they've been just drying out. And I spoke to my neighbour Alan, who's got grapevines, and he's had the same problem. His grapes have been drying faster than they've been growing. But there we are. Yes, it's been a good day, I think.